we are going to go into detail about what's changing with the new computation, and also what tools OpenFoodFact offers to help you with this transition. Just a couple of rules. Ensure that you are muted and stay muted during the main presentation. We'll have a time for Q&A. You can ask your question right now, either in the chat or in the Q&A section, which should be available by tapping the More button and then Q&A. So we'll go through a presentation of the history of OpenFoodFact and Nutri-Score, and basically how Nutri-Score came to be. Then we'll present the changes in the new methodology. Manon will finally present what we have to offer, our free tools for professionals. And then we'll end the webinar with a Q&A. So my name is Pierre Slamich. I'm the co-founder and product manager at OpenFoodFact. And we created OpenFoodFact to help with the problem we all had in a supermarket to choose and to pick the right product. In 2012, it was very difficult to find your way around the aisle among the products. You didn't have Nutri-Score at the time, and picking a product was basically being able to understand the nutrition facts table, which personally I found very abstract, and read very long ingredient list. And yet, the impact of public health of overweight and obesity is massive. It's estimated by the OECD that it wipes around 3% of the European GDP. And yet, it's avoidable through several public health measures, such as reformulation, better labeling, or school curriculum. So Nutri-Score is all about the labeling part, having a front of pack score in front of every product to help people pick a product which is less sugary, less fatty, less salty when they go to the supermarket. And OpenFoodFact is all about giving citizens the means to have and to make an impact on their own health, on the environment, and eventually to transform the whole food system. Our method is basically crowdsourcing, the idea that facing such a huge task as citizens, we should not panic, but we should rather organize and get together to collect the data, the data of the equation, of the nutritional equation, and help scientists, public authorities basically transform the food system. And in 2015, we stumbled on a report called Proposal for a New Beginning of a French Nutritional Policy by Professor Ergberg. And in this report was something called the 5-color score. And so the logo might have changed a little bit. It's not quite the logo you're used to, but it's basically what became the Nutri-Score. And so we asked Professor Ergberg for the formula, and we computed it on the 10,000 products we had at the time on OpenFoodFact. The idea was to give everyone in France a prefiguration of what could be. What could be if the Nutri-Score became the official French score, and what could be if that score arrived on every single pack in the supermarket. And the way we did that was compute the Nutri-Score on 10,000 products at the time and show it in our mobile app. So you can see at the left the old logo of the 5-color score and its evolution over the year in the OpenFact app. Fast forward to today, where we are now showing the new formula of the Nutri-Score within the OpenFoodFact app. And our impact with the Nutri-Score has been systemic. So as said, we started computing it for 10, then 15, then 100,000, and up to 1 million products in collaboration with the Nutri-Score team. And it was inspired at the time by the score you could see on your fridges, or the energy efficiency score. We computed it for a large number of products in every country, for every product, regardless of whether the producers showed it or not. And we even created an API ecosystem. Since Open Food Fact is about sharing the data, we created an open API ecosystem so that hundreds of apps could display the Nutri-Score on mobile, on the desktop, or on services across the world. And the next step was, logically, once people got used to the Nutri-Score, it started being displayed by producers, by pioneer producers on packaging. And fast forward to 2020, 30% of French products displayed the Nutri-Score on pack, and it's even higher today. But the final cherry on the cake is the systemic impact we had with Nutri-Score, since the newly introduced products now are better scored. So not only people who care about the Nutri-Score get better product, but everyone gets better products, since new introductions are healthier. And for people in countries that don't have yet the Nutri-Score, the promise of Open Food Fact is simple. If you don't have a Nutri-Score on your product, you can get it into a couple of minutes using the mobile app. So if you're a producer, you can basically photograph your product, extract the ingredient, the nutrition, and you'll get the Nutri-Score within minutes. Even if you're not completely ready yet to use the producer platform Manon will talk about in a moment. And so we started from a dream with an Open Fact contributor, basically editing images to put Nutri-Score on pack, to real life, where basically those scores are now everywhere on pack. And Nutri-Score is now evolving 5 years after, more than 5 years after its signature into law. So the Nutri-Score, as you probably all know since you're in this webinar, but it's worth repeating, is a score about the nutritional quality of food products. So not the environment, not additive, nutritional quality, with A to E grades. It was developed in 2014 by RN, a French research team in epidemiology led by Professor Agberg. So those are independent scientists, so not affiliated with the food industry. And the scientific committee of the Nutri-Score are selected experts in nutrition and public health, so that are not associated with the food industry. It's worth repeating. And the algorithm underlying the Nutri-Score is, of course, open. The Nutri-Score is especially designed to compare products within the same category. So, for instance, the breakfast cereal example I was showing earlier, and also nutrient density. Basically, the higher Nutri-Score, the more favorable nutrients you will have, and the less negative nutrients you will have. We have we have 8 countries that adopted it. Portugal is in flux, but France, Germany, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Spain, Switzerland. And as I told you earlier, products are getting better thanks to reformulation. And the Nutri-Score in itself had been already validated by many studies, where saying it was effective, but additional scientific evidence suggested that a few tweaks could be useful, especially since the initial adoption of the Nutri-Score in 2017. It had been planned that a strengthening of the score would happen on a regular basis. So science is evolving. The food market is also changing. Producers have improved their products. And so the scientific committee in 2022 and 2023 made some reports to propose some evolutions of the Nutri-Score. So what's changing with the new Nutri-Score algorithm? The points for sugar, the negative points for sugar, to be precise, have been increased. So very sugary products will be more penalized. Same goes for salt. The amount of positive points you can get for red meat has been reduced, since red meat has also some negative impact on health, and public health guidelines recommend limiting the amount of red meat you eat every day. Milk and milk-based drinks, so basically drinkable yogurts, are now also included in the beverage category, since some of them can be as sugary as sodas. And basically, they are drinked very quickly. You will also note that the new formula of Nutri-Score also penalizes the presence of sweeteners in beverages. So basically, the only very good beverage remains water, and so sweeteners, so things like Coke Zero, etc., will get a slightly worse grade in the new Nutri-Score system. So case in point example with breakfast cereals. So for sweet products in general, which breakfast cereals are, the allocation of points is stricter. So for example, cereals with a large sugar content, as a result, cannot be classified A anymore and will be C. Very low sugar cereals can still be classified B. So, for instance, muesli can be classified A because it doesn't contain sugar. For fats, there's a better
Hi, Pierre.
differentiation.
Sorry if I interrupt you. I have a question. I mean, I have seen that sugar and salt, there is a negative points. I mean, there is a change in the Nutri-Score. May I know any scientific basis for changing those parameters?
So we'll share the presentation with additional links. So just to be clear, we are Open Food Facts. So we are last week we did a webinar with Professor Ekberg, who's a nutrition a professor of nutrition. So we'll share his presentation along with the specific and evidence, the scientific evidence, and the review of literature by the scientific committee. I would recommend you read the scientific report, which is in English, and details all the existing evidence and the new additional evidence.
Okay. May I check those
And
scientific researches is being endorsed by WHO or anything else? Just would like to understand.
sorry, I didn't get your question. Those scientists?
I mean, yeah, I mean, your recommendation is that changing in the Nutri-Score is because of nutrition's suggested these changes, right? So even though nutrition suggested, is it any WHO organization or any standard organization which is endorsed or not? Just would like to understand.
Could you, so one thing we're going to do is, could you type your question? We're going to try and keep the questions at the end of the webinar, and if you could put it in writing so that we can prepare for it.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I can keep going with the presentation.
Sure,
Because
sure.
we still have quite a lot to cover, so I want to ensure that
Sure.
everyone gets the
Sure,
most out
not
of the webinar.
thanks. Thanks for your.
So fats. So very quickly, beverages. So as I said before, drinkable and sugary. So milks are going to be overall the same, with a better differentiation given the amount of fat. So between skimmed and semi-skimmed milk. And drinkable drinkable yogurts with a high sugar content are going to get worse grades. Similarly, on sugary beverages, you will see that very low drinks with very low content of sugar will get a slightly better grade, and very sugary drinks get a worse grade, and especially when they get sweeteners. So you can see, for instance, Coke Zero going from B to C with the presence of a sweetener, which is better than regular Coke, obviously, since regular Coke has sugar, has a high content of sugar. The classification is going also, so products with a lot of sugar and too much salt, less grade, as I said before. Composed dishes such as pizzas or ready-to-eat meal will be moving from classes A and B to classes B or C, and even D for certain product categories, typically pizza. The foods that get more fiber will be better, will have a better differentiation with non-refined products. So typically, sliced bread with fiber rich, so with a whole flour will get a better grades than refined flour. Red meat is less well ranked, as I said before. Oily fish with no added salt or oil, important precision, are rated better. And hard cheese with a low salt content can go from D to C. And though others with salt remain D or E, depending on the salt content. And overall, the Nutri-Score, the new Nutri-Score algorithm aligns better with the NOVA classification on ultra processing. So getting to up close to 90% of ultra processed product being C, D, or E. So it shows even better alignment with ultra processing classifications. And one important thing, as most of you are producers, is that showing the Nutri-Score is already a good business sense measure, since this study from Kantar shows that even on bad Nutri-Score, on products with bad Nutri-Score, you can see an uplift in sales since consumers are grateful for brand transparency. So basically, showing the Nutri-Score on your product, if it has a favorable grade, is good. But even for products with a worse grade, it will compare more favorably in the eyes of consumers than basically products trying to hide the nutritional reality of their product. So even on categories that are slightly more complicated in terms of nutrition, it's worth, transparency is worth it. And we are talking about scientific evidence. So there's the scientific report, and you will also, with the presentation, get all the individual articles that allowed the scientific committee to get to its conclusion. So peer-reviewed work from epidemiological teams. You will be able also to learn more about the new methodology at the Santé Publique France English website on Nutri-Score. And don't worry, you'll get all the URLs in the recap email. The Nutri-Score blog with all the papers regarding Nutri-Score in English, and of course on the Open Fact website in our Nutri-Score page. If you also want news about the Nutri-Score, you can follow Professor Erkberg on social media. He's usually retweeting all new scientific evidence about the Nutri-Score and all the news that are related to it. And now I'm gonna hand to the presentation over to Manon, who's going to introduce what Open Food Fact has in terms of tools for professionals.
Thank you very much, Pierre. It may be easier if I share my screen.
Yes.
So you don't have to pass this. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Okay. And you can hear me, I guess. So yeah, nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Manon Corneille. I joined the Open Food Fact teams 3 years ago now. And my role is to accompany the food manufacturers with our producers platform. So we have a platform dedicated that I'm going to show you in a bit. And I'm also working on the internationalization effort of the nonprofit Open Food Facts. So a few years ago, Pierre explained it very well at the beginning. Open Food Fact is a database of food products. It's used by consumer, by researchers, by businesses as well, but it's also used by food manufacturers. And a few years ago, we were faced with the challenge that it was a lot of work for food manufacturers to enter products by hand in the database. So, in order to make this work easy for them, we developed a specific platform that we call the Pro platform, which behaves a little bit like a back office for food manufacturers. So it's like a mini Open Food Facts where the food manufacturer can import their products in a bulk way. So we've made it possible for them to import product data with a spreadsheet. They also have access to different tools that I'm going to show you in a bit. And the way these two type of platform work together is that as a food manufacturer, once you upload your product in the Pro platform, then you decide to transfer the data to the public platform. And when you do that, your products become visible to the customer. And one of the main advantages is that once you upload your product using the Pro platform, it means that your product information are protected from any other modification from the consumers. Because I don't know if we insisted, I think so earlier, but it's Open Food Fact is a collaborative database, so anyone can participate, consumer, also producers. And so it's a great advantage to know that your products are going to be protected from any extra edits. So there are several ways you could share data with the Pro platform. The first one is to enter data manually. So creating a product sheet with each fields. So that's very suitable for producers who have not a lot of products. We recommend up to 15 references. Then the most common import method is using the Excel spreadsheet. So we provide a template where each column represents a field of Open Food Fact of the database. So we, of course, we have the information that are on the packaging. It's not confidential information or sales information. It's a barcode, ingredient list, nutritional table, all this information that should be easy to get. So the using a spreadsheet is often the preferred method because it's very versatile and simple. Another method we have is to use the product catalog, which is the software some food manufacturers use to manage their products, the product information. So at the moment we are interfaced with Equadis, Agena 3000, and Bayard, a German software. So if you work with any of those softwares, let us know. If you work with another software than those, let us know as well, because maybe we could build a technical bridge between your tool and Open Food Facts. And the last way to share data with Open Food Fact is if you're a big player of the food industry, we can develop a specific connection to ensure that the data transit automatically and regularly. So one of the main reasons to join Open Food Facts as a food manufacturer is that you will make sure that your products are presented on the best profile with good photos, with good data, which means that the Nutri-Score will be computed rightly, and the green score as well, and the NOVA classification. It's much better than presenting photos that have been taken by the customer. Also because we have, I think, a bit more than 3 million monthly visitors today. So it's exposing your products are exposed to many customers. So it's a good opportunity to make sure they are presented well. Another good reason to join the free producers platform is that you will not only feed the Open Food Fact database, but also a bit more than 300 projects that are reusing Open Food Fact as a database. Considering we are open source, open data, our database is reusable by anyone who respects the open database license. And most of these projects are mobile app that allow consumer to get information on products. So there may be already some application in your countries that reuse Open Food Facts. And they're also researchers. So adding your products in Open Food Facts will benefit all those other players. I will show you this feature in a bit. This is one of the free tools that are present in the platform, which is a very dear to the mission of Open Food Fact. Is also to help the food manufacturers to rethink the composition of the product, improve them to propose a more healthy offer and a less impactful for the environment offer as well, so that consumers can shift their purchase if they want to. So we have this this tool that identifies automatically the opportunities for improvement on products. So we compare products with the other products of the same category. So it's like a benchmark. And we also propose optimization for the Nutri-Score. And this is all for free. And the other benefits is that, of course, well, you participate in a citizen project, so you are sharing your data, you're transparent, and you're showing the way, spreading also a positive brand image. You're helping many scientists. We've been quoted in more than 600 scientific articles up to today. And we're very proud that Serge Erkberg, for example, the professor Erkberg that created the Nutri-Score, was relying on Open Food Fact to test the formula and progress his works. So we're very happy to be useful in that sense. And it's also a way to get some insights on your products, display your product information in a visual way, in graphs, and compare them. So yes, to date, in 5 years, We've recruited a bit more than 2,700 brands. So why not joining them? It's very easy, it's free, and it will be free forever. So we would be happy to help you create an account and join the food transparency. So let's make it real. And can you still see my screen, Pierre? Yes? Okay. Maybe I'll zoom a bit. So how does it work concretely? In case you're not familiar with what we call the public platform, I'm going to show you 1 second. So this is the public platform. It's a database. There's new products every day added by either contributors or food manufacturers. It's all the products that we have in the world, a bit more than 3.5 million products. This is the public database. And this is the pro platform. So it's only dedicated to food manufacturers. You could see the difference in the URL. I'm insisting on this point because it can happen that there is confusion and food manufacturer enter products in the public platform, but it's better to put it in the professional platform. And you could see in the logo as well that you have the little mention professional. So once you're there, you're sure to be in the right place. So here I'm connected as the company Casino, which is a French retailer. And we can see that they've added their products, almost 3,000 products. And here, the first tool we have is this little button, Explore Products By, which allows you to visualize your products according to certain criteria. So today we're talking about the Nutri-Score. So let's take a look. Up. So this is the representation of the portfolio. So I see that there is a majority of Nutri-Score D, A, B, C. It's also interesting to identify the product for which the Nutri-Score is not computed, because it may indicate that some data is lacking in the product sheet. And then, so once you could see this table, you could click on the number. A lot of things are clickable in Open Food Facts, which make it very convenient to navigate. And here you could see the way the URL is built, nutrition grade C. So here I'm looking at the 437 products that are Nutri-Score C, and from there I can browse, or I can look at my Nutri-Score C products. You can also explore your products by NOVA classification, which is the indicator of the level of processing of food. And as we're here, you could also explore the proportion of the green scores, which represent the environmental impact of the food products. Okay, now let's get back to the opportunities for improvement that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. So here we could see we have a link, number of products with improvement opportunities. And if I click on it, I have two main sections. The first one where we're talking about the possible improvement that are related to the other product of the same category. So here we are doing a benchmark, and we are telling you how your product is doing compared to the category. For example, there's 144 products for which there is a very high value of salt compared to the category. Again, you can click. If you click on the product specifically and go down in the section where we are talking about improvements, possible improvements, here you have the exact detail of what Open Food Fact is suggesting. So for example, here, the value for the product is 1.5 gram of salt, because we're talking about salt. And the mean value for the gnocchi is 1.14. So that's a good indication to tell me maybe I should reformulate my gnocchi to make it less salty. So we're not going to go into detail on every single one. So that was about the benchmark on the nutrients. And the second type of recommendation is to improve the Nutri-Score. So here we are telling you what nutrient to adapt to change the grade of Nutri-Score. So for example, which one can I pick? This one, for example. So better Nutri-Score with less sugar. So here, for these 30 products, I can see that a decrease of sugar by 5 to 10% would result in a better Nutri-Score. So I can pick this one, for example, and head to the improvement panel. And here I can see, so there's 3 possibilities for improvement on this product. But I could see, so we were looking at the sugar. Here, the Nutri-Score could be changed from E to D by changing the sugar value from 30 gram to 27 gram, which is, not significant enough that is going to change the taste of the product. And here, even better, we've got a 3% change, a decrease of saturated fat by only 3% will change the grade of Nutri-Score. So if you're considering adopting the Nutri-Score, maybe a good first step is to upload your data, look at optimizations, and then adopt the Nutri-Score to make sure you put your market with the best marketing possible. Okay, so that's for the improvement opportunities. Also, recently we developed a specific table regarding the Nutri-Score to help understand which product have changed between the old Nutri-Score and the new Nutri-Score. So if you sort them, if you sort the table, here you can see, so this first line, the Nutri-Score didn't change. On this second line, it means that the Nutri-Score was A and is now B. So it's doing less well. And here, again, if you click on the number, you can look at which products are in this situation. And you can also look at how you can improve that. So let's see, I'm on my 132 products that have seen the Nutri-Score downgrade. And here, if I go into the possible improvements panel, here I can zoom my research only on the products that have that went from A to B. And And here I see that there's a lot that could be improved actually by reducing salt, sugar, and adding fibers. So we're giving you the keys to adapt in an optimal way. And maybe one more minute, because I'm aware we should let time for questions. But that's also a tool that is quite loved by producers. Is a tool to detect data quality errors. So it can happen that sometimes, even in the data from the food manufacturer, that there are mistakes. And so by uploading all your product data into Open Food Fact, we run our 200 plus data quality checks, so like checkpoints, checks, yeah. And we could tell you, for example, energy value in kilocalorie does not match the value computed from other nutrients. So as we can see on all these mistakes that have been identified, they're all around the nutritional table. So yeah, we run all the logical checks to make sure that your quality is good, data quality is good. And then the last one, and then I'm finished, I promise, Pierre. Because this one is quite interesting because it's about the Nutri-Score as well. Here we have a way to identify when the Nutri-Score that we compute, thanks to our automatic algorithm, we can identify if it is different from the one you send us. So that's always interesting because it can mean that some data is missing in Open Food Facts. And for example, here we have 600 products with a different Nutri-Score. 600 products out of 2,700, so it's quite a lot. But it also can be possible with because of the new calculation. So the products are still displaying the old Nutri-Score, so there'll be some adaptation. Okay, I'm available if you have any question on the platform. We will of course send you the presentation and the replay and give our email address. Happy to help. I will be your main contact for the pro platform at least. And that's it for me. I think we're ready to move on the question.
So there are a lot of questions in the chat. We've answered already some of them that are worth repeating for the sake, because some of them are very interesting. Actually, all of them are very interesting. So one question is, how does Nutri-Score applied to Southeast Asia and outside Europe? So that's a good question. So it's especially relevant if you want to export your products to the European market. So it's something that you can display voluntarily to help your consumers better consume, regardless of where you are based in the world. But it takes a lot of sense if you have some exportation towards Europe. And another question asked, what's the process basically? And you should type and search within search engine Santé Publique France. So I put the link in the chat. Santé Publique France Nutri-Score, so Nutri-Score Public Health France. And you will get a step-by-step explanation on how to do it. It's a free process. You just need to send the nutritional table with a specific set of nutriments and ask for permission to display the logo and to join the Nutri-Score scheme. So it's a public run system. So there are no fees to actually adopt the Nutri-Score. It's just an administrative step, given, of course, that your nutrition facts are accurate, which they should be under law. So other questions about studies around the perception of customers for Nutri-Score. So that's actually an interesting one, since in France especially, many large-scale studies were done using real-life data. So the idea being that before the Nutri-Score was voted into law, many supermarkets got Nutri-Score stickers on top of products. So as experimental supermarkets versus regular supermarkets, and like difference and shifts in consumption were studied with supermarkets with and without Nutri-Score labeling. And all of this has been published. So it's not only the only study related to consumer change, but all those studies were published and are available in the papers in English section of the Nutri-Score.blog blog run by the Nutri-Score team. There's a question regarding Nutri-Score for dishes. So you can actually, the Pro platform of Open Food Fact allows you to compute Nutri-Score for your products with a barcode. But let it be known that Santé Publique France also provides an Excel spreadsheet that allows you to compute Nutri-Score for specific products. And so you are definitely able to, given that you have the precise percentage of ingredients, you will be able to compute Nutri-Scores for any recipe you wish. It's just a question of basically doing additions and multiplications with the additional ingredients that you're using, given some specific constraint, especially related to evaporations and those kind of things. So you'll get more information on the Santé Publique France website regarding that. And there are a number of startups who actually provide. So Open Food Fact has an experimental system for that as well, called the recipe estimator. But basically, there are a number of a startup and Excel spreadsheet around the internet that allow you to do that on a recipe.
I saw a question about how can consumer differentiate if data is coming from consumers or from manufacturer. So if you can still see my screen, I think so. There's a mention on the product sheet saying that some of the data of this product has been provided directly by the manufacturer. So this is the indication. But I'm not sure if we can see it on the mobile app.
You can see it as well. So on the mobile app, it will take the form as well of a little factory icon next to fields that are validated by producers.
That's it.
We have another question about whether the producer platform support prices and price update, discounts and coupons. So at the moment, the most astute producer will have noticed that we have this open price project. At the moment, it's a separate system from the producer platform, but we certainly accept price data, but you'll have to send it to prices at openfoodfact.org, probably in the form of an Excel file if you want, or a CSV file. And we'll do a manual import. But we can actually import price data. So currently we don't have support for generic price data. So recommended price, we will probably add support in the next few weeks to few months. But if you have location-specific prices, we can already import them. And as for coupon and discounts, we don't have any support. That's essentially something that happens with retailers. And as we repeat, we are not retailers, we are purely a database. So we have a question about Latvia. So, for instance, if Latvia hasn't adopted Nutri-Score on the product label, how can it be implemented? And companies typically need to register with the relevant national authority. So currently, as a company, you are free to compute the score, especially if you're doing exportation. And I'm not a legal expert, so this is not legal advice, but you probably would need to register with one of the participating European countries who has the power to allow you to use the Nutri-Score logo. I don't think it's explicitly prohibited to compute them and display them in Latvia, even if there's no official position of Latvia regarding that. We have reports that Nutri-Score is used in other European countries who haven't formally joined the scheme. So there's this principle of freedom of movement within the European Union. So it should be okay. But again, I'm not a lawyer. You should probably go to the Santé Publique France website, which has explanation on how to do that. And there are 5 to 6 authorities for each country that can actually authorize you to use the logo.
Is already up on Open Food Facts. Is the new Nutri-Score automatically recalculated, or do I need to take any action? So the new Nutri-Score will be automatically calculated, but you will also see the old one. Let me pick a product. Nutri-Score. How was that? So you could see the new calculation with all the detail and a nice visual display. The technical team has made some improvements on that.
Showing the old and the new Nutri-Score is an exclusive feature on the producer platform. So you can only see that if you have a professional account, and all the features that Manon demonstrated are only available to producers. So if you want to be able to do the comparison, you need to sign up to the producer platform. I believe we have another question about people from representing a client. So as an agency, what's possible for food agency representing food companies? So the great news is that our platform is multi-user. So you can get your client to create an Open Food Fact for Producer account. And you can also create accounts for representative of your agency, and you can collaborate with product data, with people from the company and people from your agency. So we certainly support that. We ask, however, that we have at least one representative of a company as an administrator for permanency reason and for to ensure that basically the company stays in control of the product data and for verification purpose on our side. Some API. So yes, question, can you choose the benchmark countries you benchmark your product with? So perhaps Manon can do a demo. But as you see, we're currently on the word.pro.openfact.org domain. And so we have the ability to refine by country by replacing word by dot, for instance, fr, or any country actually. So basically, you will be able to go on a product page and see. In this case, the example we are showing is actually a French retailer. So it will only have products in France. But basically, you can filter and drill down by country, and so you will see product in that specific country. And if you basically look at the nutrition table and the category averages, there will be it will be compared to the category in that country.
Yeah, that's not the most relevant example. Let's try that. Voilà.
We have a question which is not related to the Nutri-Score or to the producer, but we will answer it anyway. So are there any APIs for developing customer apps or producer apps to update product catalogs? So for customer apps, we definitely have some APIs. So both read API that allow you to retrieve data and write APIs that allow to send data. And for producer apps to update product catalogs, we usually work, as Manon said, with GS1 standard, which allow for maximum efficiency. But if you have something specific in mind, you should definitely contact us, get us in touch, and we'll be very happy to exchange on that, especially since you already seen if you have already some clients in your portfolio.
Yeah, I assume we'd need to talk about what product catalog and what are all the options. Okay. 3:00. Is it wrap-up time? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming and staying until now. We will send the presentation and the replay, the recording. We'll put it on YouTube. Feel free to contact us. I'll display again our email address. Up. And we'll also send some resources to the Santé Publique France website, and hopefully you'll have all the information you need after that.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.